It's midnight and you're tuning in to Nightline with me, Adrian Seet. The top stories. EC sets August 12th as polling day for state election in 6 states. And EPF considering mandatory periodic withdrawal scheme for 55 years old members. Thanks for joining us. Voters in Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu, Pulau Pinang, Selangor and Negeri Sembilan will go to the polls on August 12th following the Election Commission EC's decision to hold simultaneous state elections in the 6 states. When announcing this on Wednesday, EC Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh said nominations would be held on July 29th while early voting is on August 8th.
SPR telah melantik 245 pegawai pengurus pilihan raya dibantu oleh 740 orang penolong pegawai pengurus. Manakala bagi tujuan memantau aktiviti kempen pilihan raya sepanjang tempoh tersebut berkempen, SPR telah menubuhkan 252 pasukan penguatkuasa kempen pilihan raya.
Tan Sri Abdul Ghani said this to the media after chairing a special meeting for the state elections at the EC headquarters in Putrajaya on Wednesday. The meeting was held following the receipt of notices of the official dissolution of the 6 states' assemblies from their respective state assembly speakers. The state poll would involve 245 seats comprising 36 in Kedah, 45 in Kelantan, 32 in Terengganu, 40 in Pulau Pinang, 56 in Selangor and 36 in Negeri Sembilan. Tan Sri Abdul Ghani also said that the state polls would involve almost 9.8 million eligible voters, with Selangor recording the highest at 3.7 million, followed by Kedah at 1.5 million voters and 1.4 million voters in Kelantan. He added that a total of 153,760 officers will be appointed to handle the election process in the 6 states, where a total of 173 nomination centres and 186 official vote-tallying centres will be opened. The EC also estimated the upcoming state elections in all 6 states to cost 420 million ringgit. Meanwhile, Barisan National Component Parties MCA and MIC have announced that they will not contest in the 6 state elections to be held next month. In a statement on Wednesday, MCA Secretary General Dato' Chong Sin Woon said the decision was made by the party's Central Committee after in-depth discussions and analysis and in view of the current political situation. He also said that as a BN component party, MCA would play its role to help campaign for the coalition's candidates during the state polls. He added that during this period, the party will also be implementing reforms and rejuvenation, as well as focus on preparations for the 16th general election GE16. His MIC counterpart R.T. Rajasekaran, on the other hand, said in a separate statement that MIC's decision to stay out of the coming state polls was made solely to safeguard the interests of the party. The party made the decision at its Central Working Committee meeting on June 30th after studying the current political situation. He added that for now, MIC will pay more attention to the process of building a more solid party structure for facing GE16. He further said that MIC would also fulfill its role as a BN component party to support the coalition's candidates in the upcoming state polls. The Employees Provident Fund, EPF, is considering a scheme that will require its members who are 55 years old to withdraw their savings periodically instead of a lump sum withdrawal to help them continue saving. Its Chief Executive Officer, Dato' Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan, said these periodic withdrawals on a monthly basis will allow them to have enough savings to live on when they retire, as the remaining money in their EPF accounts will continue to be compounded, giving them better returns.
Mungkin inilah satu cara yang kita boleh consider as the new scheme lah. Ya, buat masa sekarang kita kata skim ni adalah satu skim yang voluntary. Ya, tapi mungkin ahli baru kita boleh tengok nak continue voluntary atau mandatory. Tapi ini mungkin memerlukan study yang lebih, perbincangan dengan kajian yang lebih.
Speaking to reporters at the International Social Wellbeing Conference ISWC 2023 in Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday, Dato Sri Amir said lump sum withdrawal may not be a wise option for EPF members, as their savings may not be enough to sustain them until the end of their lives. Earlier in his opening remarks at the event, he called for a more inclusive social protection system, describing the current one as narrow and inadequate, considering that Malaysia's elderly population is growing faster than other age groups. He added that the issue of inadequacy of retirement savings was worrying, as it reveals underlying contributing factors such as a low-wage structure, misalignment between full withdrawal age and retirement age, inconsistent contributions and underemployment. As of May 2023, only 18% of total members meet a basic savings by age, which will enable them to have at least 1,000 ringgit a month over a 20-year retirement age. The benchmark EPF uses to determine basic savings achievement by retirement age of 55 years old is 240,000 ringgit. To date, EPF has 15.8 million members. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, said it is looking into the system and procedures concerning the issuance of not-to-land NTL notices. Its Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azambaki said an agent who allegedly solicited a fee to help a foreign tourist after she was prohibited entry into Malaysia is linked to a company based at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA.
Di airport ada satu syarikat, saya tak nak namakan syarikat tu, yang diberi tanggungjawab, mungkin dinamakan kontrak, sejak tak silap saya 2017 begitulah, di mana mereka adalah syarikat yang dibenarkan untuk menguruskan mereka-mereka yang telah diberikan NTL. Untuk makluman, pada hari itu tak silap saya termasuk perempuan Cina ni 41 NTL telah dikeluarkan.
Tan Sri Azam added that the Commission wanted to find out whether there were any elements of corruption in the system and procedures by the company. He also said that the MACC will record a statement from the company in the near future. Previously, it was recorded and reported that the graft buster was tracking down the agent who allegedly asked for a bribe of 18,000 ringgit to solve the case involving the Chinese national, which led to a commotion with immigration officers at the KLIA last Friday. Tan Sri Azam further said the Chinese national, along with her friend, who is also from China, have returned to their country on Wednesday. The MACC also had recorded statements from at least 14 individuals regarding incidents, including the 2 women and 8 immigration officers. Meanwhile, a total of 423 Chinese travellers were served with a NTL notice from January to June this year due to various reasons, including security factors. Home Minister Dato Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said the travellers were denied entry into Malaysia as they had failed to give satisfactory answers to the immigration officers on basic questions.
Dia akan bertanya beberapa perkara asas. Ini amalan immigration antarabangsa. Apa dia? Ada tak tiket balik? Ada tak wang yang mencukupi? Ada tak alamat tempat yang kita datangi itu? Hikmahnya apa? Tujuannya apa? Tujuannya nak elakkan bahawa travellers yang datang dengan social pass daripada bekerja.
Speaking at a media conference at his ministry's headquarters in Putrajaya on Wednesday, Dato Sri Saifuddin said the number of those who were given the NTL is small compared to 592,490 of them who were allowed entry. He added that the NTL was also issued to travellers from Bangladesh and India, and the numbers were much higher than Chinese travellers. He clarified that there is a valid reason on why the Immigration Department enforces the NTL on a traveller. Dato Sri Saifuddin also said that immigration officers of grade 41 and above have been given the authority to decide whether or not to serve the NTL on a traveller. At the same press conference, Dato Sri Saifuddin said his ministry will hand over to the MACC the name of a National Registration Department NRD officer who was alleged to have solicited for money from applicants for Malaysian citizenship. The Home Minister said he himself had received a complaint regarding the alleged corruption involving the officer concerned.
Perkara proses permohonan itu diluluskan, telah dibuat keputusan dan keputusan lulus. Okey, ada elemen yang kemudiannya menghubungi pemohon dan meminta sejumlah wang. Okey, dan watak itu pun kita kenali yang didakwa terlibat. Jadi saya telah menghubungi Tan Sri Azam tadi untuk selepas ini menyerahkan nama kepada MACC untuk meneruskan siasatan.
Earlier, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said he had received information that there was an element of power abuse in the NRD involving the process of obtaining a citizenship, as eligible applicants were allegedly required to pay a certain fee to obtain the citizenship certificate. In response to this, the NRD on Tuesday stated that it is committed to curbing corruption by implementing improvements to the procedure for issuing identification documents. More than 60% of the 156 investigation papers involving high-profile and public interest cases opened by MACC's Special Operations Division BOK between 2020 and June the 8th this year involved politicians. BOK Senior Director Dato Tan Kang Sai said the investigations resulted in the arrest of a total of 211 individuals, with 91 of them brought to court over a total of 554 charges. According to Dato Tan, during the same period, the MACC seized over 51 million ringgit in cash, forfeited property and cash of more than 10.4 million ringgit, and issued compounds amounting to nearly 129 million ringgit. He said investigating high-profile and public interest cases, especially concerning financial transactions involving banks and foreign financial institutions, had its own challenges. He added that tracing the money becomes difficult when funds are transferred to offshore accounts, as each country has different laws to protect its banking system, and financial institutions have the right not to cooperate or provide information to facilitate an investigation. Dato Tan also pointed out that most of the evidence on money trail brought to the court only involves local banks and financial institutions. Amongst the high-profile cases which have been investigated by the BOK were Op Mitra, Op Hire and Op Mari, which involved the misuse of millions of ringgit in funds provided by the government for the development of the Indian community, for workers during the COVID-19 pandemic and the country's automotive industry. After this breather, over a dozen dead in China amid torrential rain. Details when we return. On to the foreign front. Thailand will hold a joint session of its parliament on July 13th to elect a prime minister, taking a key step towards government formation almost 2 months after a group of pro-democracy parties swept the May election. The newly elected House Speaker Wan Muhammad Nur Matha on Wednesday said 750-member National Assembly will convene for the vote at 9:30 a.m. local time next Thursday. According to Wan Muhammad, the session may not be immediately conclusive and may be only the first of many, as a successful premier candidate needs to gain the support of the majority of lawmakers. The eight-party coalition that has staked a claim to form Thailand's next government will solely nominate Pita Limjaroenrat, the leader of the Progressive Move Forward Party that won the most seats in the May 14th election. The coalition Pitas cobbled together after the election currently commands 312 lawmakers, a clear majority in the 500-member House of Representatives. However, he needs the support of over a fourth of the 250-member Senate, a body appointed by the Rollist military establishment following a 2014 coup that will vote alongside the lower chamber. Israeli fighter jets have struck the Gaza Strip on Wednesday after its forces withdrawn from Jenin, ending a two-day ground and air offensive that killed at least 12 Palestinians and wounded about 100 others. The Zionist attack has hit an underground weapons manufacturing facility belonging to Hamas, the Palestinian group running the strip. However, no casualties were reported. Israel claimed that the strike was in response to rockets fired from the besieged enclave towards its territory. Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu, in the meantime, vowed for another possible raid on Jenin, saying its extensive operation in Jenin is not a one-off. At least 188 Palestinians have been killed this year alone by the Zionist regime in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. In China, torrential rain has killed at least 15 people and left 4 missing in the southwestern city of Chongqing after heavy downpour unleashed devastating floods and deadly mudslides in the recent weeks. As of 10 a.m. local time on Wednesday, the rainfall had caused disasters in 36 towns, villages and streets, including Wuqiao, Changling, Baiyang, in Wangzhou. According to officials, a total of 37,226 people have been affected by the disaster, with 11,578 people transferred to safe places and 779 people resettled. In addition, a total of 1,949.96 hectares of crop were affected, 50 houses collapsed, and 112 houses were damaged, causing direct economic losses of nearly $31.5 million. President Xi Jinping, in the meantime, underlined that leading officials at all levels must take the lead in fighting the floods by putting the people's safety and property first and strive to minimize all kinds of losses. On to sports. Tennis, the 2023 Wimbledon. Andy Murray opened his campaign with a grass court clinic on Tuesday afternoon when the home favourite outclassed his fellow Brit, Ryan Peniston, 6-3, 6-love, 6-1 on centre court. The two-time champion was rock solid from the baseline and showcased top-quality movement on the grass in his 2-hour win. After fending off the first 2 break points of the match in the 3rd and 5th games respectively, Murray converted 6 of 12 break points of his own to charge to victory and set a second-round blockbuster against Stefanos Tsitsipas or Dominic Thiem, whose match was cancelled due to heavy and prolonged rain. Joining Murray was fellow Brit Cameron Norrie, who had earlier battled past up-and-coming Czech player Tomáš Maček, 6-3, 4-6, 6-1, 6-4. The 12th seed, a semi-finalist last year, is vastly more experienced than Maček, who was making his Wimbledon debut and playing the first tour-level match on grass of his career. Maček proved to be a formidable opponent, but Norrie held his nerve, bouncing back from a break in the 4th to conclude the match in 4 sets, to set up a match with either American Christopher Eubanks or Brazil's Thiago Monteiro. Also through to the next round was France's Quonta Alice, who ended the hopes of 27th seed Dan Evans falling a 6-2, 6-3, 6-7, 5, 6-4 victory. Evans was trailing by 2 sets to love to Alice, ranked 79 in the world, and bad light suspended play on Monday night. But the Brit came out fighting when play resumed late on Tuesday, snatching the 3rd set on a tie-break by 7 points to 5. The two men would evenly matched in the 4th until Alice secured a crucial break at 5-4 to earn himself a place in the 2nd round against Australian Alexander Vukic. In the women's event, it took 2nd seed Arnya Sabalenka just over an hour to dispatch Pana Udvardi 6-3, 6-1. The 2023 semi-finalist was too strong for her Hungarian opponent, ranked number 82 in the world, winning 6 straight games from love 1 down in the 2nd set. The Belarusian, who is competing under a neutral flag, will play the winner of the match between Frenchwoman Varvara Gracheva and Italian Camila Grioghi in the next round. In another match, last year's runner-up, Ons Jabeur, made a solid start to her bid to capture a maiden Grand Slam title as the world number 6 eased past unseeded Poli Magdalena Farajka, 6-3, 6-3 to reach the 2nd round. Jabeur will face either Yaseline Bonaventure of Belgium or China's Zhu Xuanbai in the 2nd round. Bai was leading Bonaventure 7-6 love, 4 love, and the matches were first postponed and then cancelled due to the weather. Still to come, failure to file tax returns cost company director 2.4 million ringgit. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Members of the public are still cautious despite the government's decision to lift the face mask ruling in public transports and healthcare facilities that came into effect on Wednesday. Although the relaxation of the mask mandate is viewed as a signal that the COVID-19 situation in the country is further improving, many continue to mask up as the risk of infection still lingers. Following the recent World Health Organization WHO's declaration that COVID-19 is no longer a public health emergency of international concern, the Health Ministry had announced a further easing of face mask rules last week. Checks conducted by Nightline saw most people are still wearing masks, despite being aware that it was no longer mandatory in public places and public transportation. While some individuals welcomed the decision as a sign of progress and a return to normalcy, others expressed concern about the potential risks associated with reduced mask usage.
Yes, I will continue because I think it's safe to wear the mask because it can prevent from any disease like flu or someone coughing. So it's better to be safe than sorry lah.
Concerns were also raised about the risks of new variants, the possibility of increased transmission in crowded places, and the potential impact of vulnerable groups in the population.
The reason why I'm wearing a face mask is because of the age lah. You know, as you age, there's always a possibility that your immune system is not that strong. And you never know because there's such a thing called COVID-19 with the various variants, you see. So I nak takut nanti COVID-23 because year 23 mah. So I tak mau kena lah.
As for traders, they will also continue to wear masks as they recognize the importance of maintaining good hygiene standards when conducting their business.
At large, they have become very complacent. No more wearing face masks, QR scans, etc. But as a food truck vendor like us, by the roadside, we still use face masks in terms of hygiene because we handle food, we talk to customers, things like that.
Many also emphasize on the need to stay vigilant and take precautions in order to minimize the risk of infection, not just from COVID-19, but also other infectious diseases.
And I'm okay. We just need to be cautious and keep, practicing some measurement to prevent. But overall, I'm happy with the announcement. Yeah.
Okay.
In Johor, a recycling company director incurred a penalty of over 2.43 million ringgit, in addition to a fine of 18,000 ringgit at the Johor Bahru Magistrates Court on Wednesday for her failure to file tax returns. Magistrate Nur Zihan Abdul Rahman imposed the sentence on 49-year-old Wong Siu Lan after she pleaded guilty to the charge. According to the charge sheet, Wong failed to file the returns for the assessment years of 2021 and 2022, involving a taxable income of more than 3.3 million ringgit, which meant she should have paid a tax of 812,478 ringgit. The charge under the Income Tax Act carries a fine not exceeding 20,000 ringgit or imprisonment up to 6 months or both, in addition to a special penalty of triple the tax payable upon conviction. The court also ordered Wong to pay the fine and the penalty in installments to the Inland Revenue Board (LHDN) starting from Wednesday, and for her to serve 12 months behind bars if she failed to settle the fine. As we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look as Algerians commemorated the country's independence on Tuesday, one day ahead of the official day, with hundreds of people taking to the streets in celebration. With that, I'm Adrian Seet. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.